In Xandu to Kubla Khan, a stately pleasure dome decree, where Elf, the sacred river ran, through caverns measureless to man, down to a sunless sea. I mean, listen to that. Do you really think guys today would talk like that? Men like Coleridge had to struggle against the preconceived notions of their time just to write what they thought, letting their creativity flow through passion and love. Like, I went on a date with this guy last week and he totally thought that Shakespeare was a pirate.
Okay, so like this Coleridge guy, he's like rebelling against the man, but like without fists, you know, like with his poetry.
Alright, please state your name for the camera.
Me? Surely you know the founder of the Romantic era.
William Wordsworth?
No, boy, that's a dear friend to me. I am Samuel Taylor Coleridge of England, founder of the Romantic era and author of Kubla Khan.
My apologies, go on.
Yes, where were we? Ah, the Romantic era. Is that what you kids call it these days? It is a revolutionary time of freedom and creativity in the arts. We're rebelling against societal norms, using our own expression, our own music, our own literature. It was a good time to be alive, young man.
Could you introduce yourself?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm no one, I'm just a man.
Could I get your opinion on the Romantic era?
What does it mean to me? Well, my father, he is a man of reason. Being devout to God and hard work is all you need, he says. But I want more. I think of writing myself sometimes. The freedom this age has given me, I can't be sure it's real.
So why don't you?
Well, I can't, sir. You see, no one's taught me. You know, I think if I would just learn the letters, I could write something like Coleridge does. You've heard of him, right? He writes for plain men like me. And one day, I will write for someone because of men like him.
Look, so you can't know everything about the Romantic period. It's like a billion years. But if there were like 5 main points, I think the first one I'd go over would be lyrical ballads.
Why did I write lyrical ballads? Young man, I dare you to find anything in heaven and earth that is more powerful, more stirring than love eternalized in text. No longer do we trudge into the filth under the lash of those who claim to be better than us. I write lyrical ballads for the common man, for the smith, the builder, the farmer, not for those who hide behind reason and God. Each time I write a ballad, I challenge those who cling to reason to write something even more profound. They cannot, because only a romantic can be so bold.
If you're studying this era, you need to know a thing or two about nature. And if you think I'm talking about plants, I really insist that we end this conversation right now.
What do artists mean when they say nature?
Nature is how we all behave. It doesn't always have to make sense. Take my father, for instance. He thinks it's plants. But it is how God made us. Take yourself, sir. You are curious. That is nature. For me, I do not have the letters yet to write, but it is my nature to write.
So my teacher, right, she's all like, what's long ago and far away mean? And I'm looking around at all these people and they're thinking she means like Cinderella, you know? But I don't. I understand. But it's more than all that Disney stuff, you know? Like, it's still got the Once Upon a Time thing and all that mystical stuff. But it's like medieval, you know? It's more real. It's like Cinderella meets Game of Thrones. Okay, so like moving on, right? So there's this thing called figure of a poet, and when he says that, he's talking about himself. Like, duh, I mean, the guy is the poet, right?
When a man talks about the figure of a poet, he talks about himself. Am I correct? As a poet writes, he writes himself as a castaway, against himself. They're all castaways, sir. Sending us poetry, sending us lines to somewhere beautiful where we are not. And all we can hope for are lines that they keep on sending us.
The spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings? Well, it's probably the most important part of the era, if you ask me. Although, it's definitely lacking nowadays, if you know what I mean. It's when you feel so much, you just can't hold it back anymore. Like, when a person is overflowing with passion, he needs an outlet. He needs to write it down, tell somebody. So he writes a ballad or a poem. And it's so manly and so beautiful all at the same time. Well, you know what I mean.
This spontaneous overflow you're talking about is something that my good friend Wordsworth wrote.
What is it?
What is it? Oh, well, that's something a man can't put into words until he's ready. But it's always there. It builds and grows. A man can write about the rain in the dry season. A poet would know what he means. You see, the rain is not coming from the heavens. The rain isn't here. Who is anyone to say what is real? They're just feelings, boy. A poet's feelings, a romantic's feelings. It's in our nature to feel these things, and it's all right to write them.
Feelings so powerful that they're overflowing out of a poet's heart. I mean, that pretty much just sums up the entire era. It actually sums up how any poet should write. Through the passion of his own accord.
So how long do you think the Romantic period's gonna last?
Forever.